So the workshop has been off-grid more or less for a couple of weeks now, running the Lycan. So I thought let's go over what it's been like and let's set up the shop for the day. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is connect to the app. Currently the batteries are at 76%. Now this is actually kind of on the low side. Usually it's more like 80 to 90% overnight. And that's the use of the inverter and a couple of things that I have running in here. But we actually had 2 days now of cloudy weather, so we haven't had as much coming into the batteries to replenish them. So first of all, let's check out what's going on here. Okay, so we have 2 solid green lights. That means that there is more solar coming in than we are using. Okay, so here we have the settings right now. AC input off. That means there's no power coming in from the wall. We have the AC output 30 amp, that's on, and the 20 amp we are not using, so only this one's on. So here we have battery solar surge protections. Okay, we have the AC output that's going up here into the breaker box. We have the AC input, it's connected here, but the setting is off. We also have 4 batteries in here, 2 inside, 2 on top, for about 10,000 watt, more or less. Currently have about 77%. Okay, it's been going up since, and let's see how much solar we have coming in right now. We're using about 100 watts, and we're having 1400 watts of solar coming in. I have a quick note. Renogy did provide me with these products for review. They are not, however, paying me anything to make these videos. So all opinions, all experiences are my own to share with you guys. Now, if these products sound interesting to you and you are thinking about, getting something like this, you can use one of my affiliate links in the description below, and then I would get a small percentage of the price. So just wanted to get that out there. So all through the night I have this fan going here. There is a filter attached to it, like a MERV 13 filter, so that it kind of circulates the air and cleans it. So that's on all through the night. We have batteries, kind of chargers, and we have things on standby in there. Now let me turn some lights on and see how we pop up. So now the load is 400 watts, more or less. In the ceiling here, I have a bunch of these. These are like bright LED lights. They are like 62 watt each, except from a couple over there, like 30 watts. So that adds up. That's quite a lot of lights. Turn these on. So at this point, which is like the way the shop is on, more or less, it draws about 500 watts an hour. So during 1 hour, 500 watt hours is being drawn out. And this is a 1,000 square foot shop, and that's just kind of keeping the lights on, the computer on, the stereo on, that kind of thing. That means that I have 10,000 watt hours of batteries in there, so every hour I use 1/20th of the capacity of the batteries to just keep everything open. If you think about it, I mean, in some ways that's not a lot, but if you keep it on for a couple hours, you are going to deplete the batteries. But if you have solar coming in, then it doesn't matter, then it's basically free. Of course, if you have a couple of cloudy days, like we've had last couple of days, you're not going to replenish as much. Now, that's not really an issue so much in like here in Virginia, where we don't really have usually too many cloudy days consecutively. But if we went farther north, or like back in Oregon, you're going to have more of those like days on end of cloudy days, and you're not going to replenish as much. So on the same circuits here, we also have some tools connected, like the Tormek, only about 100 watts. Of course, if you put a load on it and started sharpening things, it's going to go up more. Got the drill press. So that jumped it up to 900. It's kind of cold in here. So the heater draws a fair amount. So now we're up to 1100 watts. Well, what's nice is when you have solar coming in, it doesn't really matter, you can use it. So all through the night, the fan uses about 100 watts an hour. Now 100 watts an hour is not a lot, but when you keep it on all night, it does add up, which is why it depletes it as well. So currently it's a nice sunny day today. We have about 1500 watts coming in of solar right this moment, but when it is rainy and cloudy, we get about 100 watts coming in. So not a whole lot. So if you think about 100 watts coming in for 8 hours, that's 800 watts. And then when you think about how you need about 500 watts an hour just to kind of power the shop in terms of lights, the fans, charging up batteries, standby for stereo and computers and that kind of thing, it does go down pretty far. Then of course it is nice to have a larger battery bank. Now when you are setting up a system like this, the one thing that you have to be a little bit careful about is making sure you have the right voltages coming in, because there are surge protectors and breakers on here on the Lycan. However, that does not protect against voltage spikes. That only protects against amps spikes, or amps, which is why you have, like a 20 amp breaker, a 30 amp breaker. So if the amps coming in are higher than that, the unit will shut off. The thing about voltage is that it's not consistent, it's not even. If you have getting a lot of sun coming in, if the temperature drops, the voltage can spike. All units are different, but this solar charge controller can handle between 60 and 150 volts coming in. That's the range when it can operate, when it gets that amount coming in. So if you go below that, it's not going to work, and if you go above that, it can damage the unit, and you can destroy it. You're going to have to replace that part. So you have to make sure that you set up whatever solar panels you have outside in the right configuration in terms of series and parallel. Now, when you have a lot of amps coming in through a wire, it gets hot, so it can shut down. But when you have a lot of voltage, it doesn't work the same way. They work in different ways. So that's kind of something you have to be the caretaker of yourself when you have a system like this. So connecting solar panels in series and parallel seems to be causing a fair amount of confusion. So I thought maybe the best way to kind of go over that is to set up a little example board here with some of these smaller panels. These are about 5 volt, 1 amp, something like that. I have them right now under this light to provide power to the panels. And this is kind of like a smaller version of what your big solar panels could look like. When you're seeing a number back on the solar charge controller in terms of what it accepts, that refers to the open voltage, which means voltage not under load. So if I'm getting 60 volts coming in, once I connect it to a battery or a light, or I draw energy from it, the voltage is going to go down. So first of all, we refer to open voltage, not under load. Now, amps times volts is going to equal the watt no matter what. No matter what. It's going to equal the watt no matter what. So you're going to get 30 watts out of these panels, like maximum, no matter how you set them up. No matter whether you set them up in 6 series, 6 parallel, or 2S, 3P, 3S, 2P. Now, when you connect something in series, you combine the voltages. If I want to set all the panels up in parallel, then you combine the amps. We can check out, I have a multimeter right here, how much voltage is coming in on one panel. So 3.4 volts, which makes sense, seeing how it's a 5 volt panel, we are inside. Now, if I wanted to connect these 2 panels in series, so I combine the positive and the negative on 2 panels, and now it's basically like one system. I can see how much we're getting. 7.9 volts. Okay, and now I have basically created one system here with a positive and a negative using 2 panels. So I could put all of these in series. That would be an 6S system. Each one connects to the positive, connects to the negative, to the other. So it basically becomes one big panel. So 5 times 6 would be 30. In an optimal, we're getting 25. When you connect something in parallel, you combine the amps together. So you can connect all your negatives and all your positives, a 5 volt, 6 amp system. Of course, you can create these in various ways. For example, if you wanted to do a 3S2P, you would connect these 3 together and these 3 together. So you would have a plus and a minus, then you would connect those systems together. 15 volts, 2 amps. Now to figure out exactly how you should set up your panels, there are calculators that you can use online where you input the specific information from your panels, and this information can usually be found on the back of the solar panel, like their open circuit voltage at standard temperature, and the panel's temperature coefficient of the VOC, like the minimum recorded temperature of your location, and a couple of things like that. That's a good idea to do if you're unsure of how to connect your panels. And like different solar charge controllers are going to handle this in different ways. Like some smaller unit can handle maybe 20 to 30 volts coming in. This one, can handle 60 to 150. Now, if you're talking about like major systems like home string inverters, they can maybe handle 8 to 900 volts coming in. So a much higher load, but that's not the case here. So it's just something to keep in mind. So the way we have it set up right now, we have 2 sets of solar panels right now. Everything is kind of still in the testing stage. Nothing is quite like set. But we have one that is a 2S3P and a 1.3S2P system coming in with 2 different sets of voltages, which is really testing the solar charge controller. It's doing a good job with it. But that basically means that we have around 60 to 70 volts coming in right now. Now the Lycan originally comes with 2 of these batteries inside. These are 50 amp hour, 48 volt batteries, so close to 5,000 watt hours inside here. Now you can expand this system if you want, up to I think it's like 8 batteries or something like that. And we have attached 2 more of these batteries on top here. These are the smart LiPo4 batteries. You can see here we have them hooked up, so in parallel, so plus connected, minus connected. This right here are the communication, so the batteries can communicate, and they connect with the other ones inside there too. So altogether right now, this is about 10,000 watt hours. So I got a couple of questions coming in about this system. Could you run the table saw through the Lycan? So I have a 240 volt table saw. This can only output 120. This cannot output 240. So I could not run a table saw through here. But if I had like a contractor or a smaller, like a 120 volt table saw, then I could run it through here. But so something to keep in mind. We are working on a separate system, however, to take all the tools off grid. But in order to do that, we need a system that can output to 40 volts. So it's going to be separate from this. But that's coming too. Does it make any noise? No, I mean, you can kind of hear right now, this is the noise that it's making. Of course, I also have 2 fans going in here at the same time. There's a very slight humming noise, and that's also coming on because there's fans in here. That's what you're hearing right now. But no, it's very quiet. Is there an eco mode? Yes, there is an eco mode, although I haven't really used that too much. Pros, cons with a preset system like the Lycan compared to assembling your own system. So basically, what this is just a really nice case with wheels and a bunch of parts that you can buy off the shelf inside. The batteries, the inverter, fans, like connectors, all of that stuff inside. You could totally go out and buy the parts yourself and hook it up. But I think in terms of cost, I think it's pretty similar, like what all the parts would cost. And then in this situation, you don't have to do as much assembly. You get a beautiful case with these casters, which is quite nice, that you can move around the panel and everything and the Bluetooth. So I don't know if you would really, I mean, I guess if you wanted a very different kind of system, like if you needed a system that outputted 240, for example, I mean, in terms of batteries, you can add more batteries to the system. So you're not confined in that sense. So if this kind of situation would work for you, then I would really recommend it because it is really nice the way it's set up. How heavy is it? So this right here is 400 pounds, so it's quite heavy. So even though, I mean, this comes with casters and you can move it around, I would definitely suggest finding a permanent spot for it. And ideally in an area where you're not going to have to move it around too much and where it's out of the way. Next question is about how do I like the app? So the Renogy has like an app that you can use. I'm just checking it right now. So the batteries are up to 85%. Let's see how much solar we have coming in right now. So yeah, the load right now is 1,500 watts because I have the heater on over there. So that's quite a lot coming in. We have almost 2,000 watts coming in of solar. That's actually really good. That's not bad. in terms of the app, this is a Bluetooth app. I do wish it was wireless so that I could check it from inside the house. I do have to come out here and connect to it, which is kind of annoying. And it's fine. I mean, it shows basic information, but the one thing it doesn't record any information, so I can't see the history of anything. So that's a little bit annoying. I wish it was, it had more information and that I could see the history better. But we're actually kind of working on a separate system for that to record on our own, to better record especially the solar coming in, so you kind of have a better record of, the situation. So quick reminder, if you're interested in purchasing any of these products, make sure to use my affiliate links in the description below. But all in all, I would say this has been really good. It's been really useful. I bet we've saved some money so far. Of course, you're not really doing this to save money in some ways. Like, it's more about being energy independent and not have to be, relying on other people as much, and just kind of experimenting and seeing here, like, what can we actually accomplish? Is it possible to run this off-grid? Is it a good idea? Like, what does it take? So thanks for checking in. There's going to be more videos in this series about the solar and just like a bunch of stuff like this coming up. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.